Whatever. Fuck it. Let's just proceed. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Long Lost Podcast, a Lost Watch / Rewatch podcast. My name is Lyra.
And my name is Lana.
Oh, yeah. Lana. So energized.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
today is Wednesday. I went running on Monday because I want to start running again. And I went, well, it was good. And I don't have any sense. I don't do well with like moderation or ramping up to things. I just do things or don't do things. So I hadn't run in like 2.5 months. And I decided to get back into running by just running my normal route, which is a 5K. So that went fine and like whatever. And then the next day I went hiking. So that was yesterday. And then today my body hurts a lot.
You know, that kind of makes sense.
It does. Yes. And I am tired and my body hurts.
Yeah. I had a really intensive workout in that I walked up a hill at one point today.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So that's got me short of breath, you know. Nothing wrong with me or my ability to exercise.
But yeah, so I don't know how much energy I got, but I'm gonna, you might have to lead a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I'll bring all the excess energy. Every time you're down, I'm going to be extra up.
All right. I don't know if that's a good idea, but okay. It's a thing.
Let's experiment it. We're constantly changing shit up around here, you know. We've changed the format like fucking 8 times.
That is gross exaggeration.
Look, for the number of episodes that we have, our like percentage of episodes that involve a change in format is fairly high.
It's 2.
No, because we kind of had like a half change.
Did we have a half change?
The weird one with Claire's episode, the weird day.
That was not a format.
Sure it was.
The format was just, we don't know how to talk good.
No, I mean like we had a sort of shortened summary up front and then kind of went through
right.
it.
No, fuck that.
It was like weird hybrid format.
Okay,
well that's how you're doing. That's chill. I'm good.
Yeah, how are you? Yeah?
Am I? I don't know. I'm doing okay.
It's always an interesting question to ask.
I never know. I have to and it changes so much. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? How are you doing? Does that mean like at this second?
Well, it's like, how am I doing? For somebody who is basically happy with life and doing all right, I'm doing fucking terrible. Like,
like if that's the average or whatever, or if that's a 7.
You put them into however I'm feeling right now, and like they'd be like, "Oh no!" But for me, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing all right."
Yeah, in this moment,
it's a weird question.
This is cool. Glad we're doing this.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
When you journal, who is the assumed audience? If that makes sense, like who are you writing? Are you writing it to yourself? Like, you see what I'm saying?
It's kind of weird because I journal as if it was epistolary, sort of. Like, as if someone else were gonna read it, and it was like...
Is that weird, though? That's why I'm asking, because, like, I don't know what's weird and what's not weird, and I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's also inconsistent, because sometimes when I journal, it's, like, literally me writing a dialogue between different parts of myself.
Okay.
And in that case, it's, like, not written to be read, it's, like, written to be written, because that facilitates having that conversation.
I mean, for me, at least, even if I'm writing it as though it's going to be somebody else reading it, it's still not being written to be read. It's being written to be written, but that's just the format that I'm comfortable doing it in.
Totally.
Yeah, that's one of the things I figured out. Journaling was always good for me, but part of the reason I struggled to maintain it, I think, is that I didn't really know who I was. Not that you need to know, right? But like I need to know when I'm writing who the audience supposedly is. And I always kind of just didn't have a good grasp on like what I was doing in that sense. And then I realized that, it basically should be written. For me at least, I should be writing it as though it's somebody very distinct from myself reading it.
Yeah, that can help, for sure. Good journaling talk.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Ooh, okay.
Have you heard the news?
I can't give you a good answer because I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, you know what that means, right?
No.
Oh, it's like a door-to-door, like, proselytizing thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They'll be like, have you heard the news? And then you're like, what news? And then they're like, Jesus died for you.
Oh, remember those Mormons that came to our door when we lived together?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have heard the news.
Oh, okay. Great. I don't know how to segue that into Lost, but there's some Jesus stuff in this episode, so I thought it would be a thing. Okay, let's do it. You want to do it? You want to talk about Lost?
Do you want to give upfront impressions of... what is this episode? This is season 1, episode 12. Had some fucking title, like they all do.
Yeah, this one is called...
Whatever the Case May Be.
Yeah.
Let's give top-level impressions. So you go first.
Okay, first of all, before we get into it, I think you and I are going to disagree on some stuff because there's so much shit in this episode. There's so many little different things.
That's exciting, because I have feelings.
Yes. Okay, top-level impressions. Honestly, you're going to hate this.
I think...
But I think
boy.
that...
Oh, boy.
But I think that this episode does do a lot of work to try and fix what is going on with Kate.
I don't know that I hate that take.
Also, there's a lot of little bullshit that just does not work in this one.
Okay, yeah. I don't think I disagree with that take. Potentially. We'll get into it. We'll dive into it. I wrote a little haiku.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
Yeah, remember again when we lived together and I just talked to you in haikus for a day and it was pretty annoying?
I forgot about that, but yes, I do remember it now.
Yeah. Anyway, here's my haiku. A Kate episode. The parts without her, quite good. But goddamn, Kate sucks.
Wow. Beautiful.
Let's start with the title, because these titles are all way too cute for me.
Oh my god, this one is I didn't think about the title at all, but it's this episode revolves around a fucking briefcase.
Yeah.
So, whatever the case may be.
I think, actually, the titles continuing to be cute, there were a couple points in the past when we kind of speculated, are they trying to, they were very problematic titles if they were meant to that way.
Like the Locke one.
Yeah, Walkabout, with Locke not needing a wheelchair anymore, and The House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah,
And we kind of speculated, oh, this is, kind of not good if they were trying to be cute with it, but, maybe they weren't.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to be fucking cute.
They definitely are, yeah.
And it makes those even worse. And even if they weren't problematic, they're just... this is just a thing for me. I just like very simple, straightforward, minimalist titles for episodes, for chapters, all this type of things. So I don't like the cute titles, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Moving forward from that.
Yeah, so what happens in this episode? Well, it opens... There might even be a previously on Lost, but if there is, I don't remember what happens in it. This episode opens with Kate climbing up a tree to get some fucking, I don't know, bananas or something, some kind of fruit. And she comes on down and then it's oh
she
shit,
throws a
there
rock
might be something
into the bushes.
Yeah, she's oh shit, there's something out there? And she throws a rock into the bushes and it hits Sawyer.
It hits our boy.
Yeah. And then the two of them...
They find a pretty lake and they go swimming and find some dead people and then find a briefcase. That's what happens.
That's what happens, yeah. It's a waterfall and whatever. There's so many little things to be annoyed about in this. Okay, first of all, listening to you complain about the music all these weeks, I think is getting to me, because this whole section feels very
it's horrible.
The music is very slapping you in the face.
It's funny, I made a conscious choice to stop talking about the music. I think from now on, every episode I'm just going to say the music is bad and just leave it at that, because we get it. The music sucks. It continues to suck. Yeah,
it's very this is the crux of this. I don't buy Kate and Sawyer having chemistry. It doesn't. I agree. It doesn't. They don't. Is the thing. Yeah. Well, this whole scene, they're being flirty and splashing in the water and shit.
I think the thing for me is that, and my position on Kate is clear. I'm going to try to not just devolve into ranting, right? But I think that in that character's current iteration, nobody can have chemistry with Kate. Kate is not chemistryable.
Because she doesn't really have a solid sense of personality.
And also, I gotta say, I don't know why I feel bad making this critique when I don't feel bad about like critiquing writers and stuff, but like I don't think the performance is good.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think it's a bad performance. The writing's not good either, so like it's gonna be tough. Maybe the directing is bad too. Like Natalie Portman was terrible in Star Wars, even though she's like a great actress. So
right,
but I think it was a very bad performance on top of all the other issues.
I kind of agree. Like I agree. It does feel worse. I guess because like the actors, you're like looking at their face, and then you're like, "You suck." Like that. Yeah, it feels more personal. That feels maybe worse. Yeah, and I don't mean it in a personal way, but I do agree that her performance does not like. She kind of has like one face.
Yeah, it's just very flat. It's very flat.
Yeah, she kind of like has a face where she kind of furrows her eyebrows and is quiet about stuff. But that's kind of like her thing. Yeah, and she is pretty flat. There's a moment later in this episode where she does acting, and it's
not
fine.
It's
okay.
Fine.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it when we get there. Yeah.
All right. So the thing with this waterfall and all this, they're really setting up. They didn't execute on it really, but I just thought of you because they're really setting up like the perfect environment for Kate is a freak theory.
They are. And it seems it seems like that's a little, they're trying to make you think like, okay, these two are gonna like fuck or whatever. And then, there's bodies in the water.
Also, Sawyer takes off he goes swimming. He takes off his shirt.
I thought this was pretty funny too, yeah.
And leaves on his blue jeans, his denim jeans.
Yeah, he rips off his shirt, no problem. And then just, he leaves his jeans on.
Yeah, I guess it's a small thing, but it actually, when you have a lot of small things that make so little sense, it does add up for me, just making me not buy in, Like, yeah. I'm not buying into this scene because this dude is swimming around in denim.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I mean, they showed in an earlier episode that Sawyer was swimming in the ocean just, like, naked. And it feels like in character for him to just, like, be like, whatever, and, like, strip naked and just totally. Go skinny dipping. Like, that feels correct, and I feel like they could have shot it in such a way, but then
it's bizarre.
Don't. Yeah. Yes, it's very weird. And then, like, Kate, I guess, like, sees this and is like, well, okay, I'm gonna make it so that cumulatively one of us is dressed.
Yeah.
Because the only thing she takes off is her pants.
Yeah.
So I guess we can see her ass? Like, is that
that's why it is. Point? You get a bunch of the swimming shots with the underwater camera where you can see her ass. This
is not the only time this episode where we're going to be talking about
some
this.
Ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a lot of underwater camera shots, which were cool. The location is cool. Big budget. Good high production value, I guess.
Yeah, I like this waterfall, like, pool. Basically, there's a lot of scenes in this episode where I feel like the structure or the idea here is not bad. It's just executed in a way where I'm just like, oh, fuck, I don't fucking care,
Yeah, I had a big I don't care vibe this whole episode.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that going on.
So yeah, they find the briefcase.
Yeah, they find this like silver briefcase.
Yeah, Kate's all about it. She's like, help me get that briefcase. I need that briefcase. They get the briefcase. And then it's, like, locked and she can't open it. And then she goes, oh, I don't care. Take it. Whatever. I totally don't care.
Because Sawyer's kind of like...
It's so stupid.
What? He's like, what's in it? And then he's like, what if I hang on to it? And she's like, yeah, whatever. And that's kind of how that rolls.
This makes no sense because she first says it's mine, and then he doesn't try to take it. He's like, okay, I guess we're gonna get it, and it's yours, and you're gonna hang on to it. And then she can't get into it, and he's like, that's not really yours, is it? And then she pretends to not care about it, and he's just like, okay, I guess I'll take it. Like, and then she spends
how
the rest
does
of the
that
episode,
play?
Well, yeah, she spends the rest of the episode trying to get it back, and it's like she could have just been like, it's mine, and I think Sawyer would have just been like, okay.
Her having the play of like, I want that thing because it's mine, and then being like, nah, I don't care, actually. It's like, why would he believe that? It feels like a very...
Yeah,
it's just like weird.
He clearly doesn't.
There's just like a lot...
Yeah, it's just weird.
There's a lot of just like awkward writing in this episode. Like a lot of just like, okay, I guess, the things that just like kind of don't follow and stuff.
But yeah, like why would she ever string those different behaviors together in a row? Like it's baffling human behavior.
It's because she's not she's not good at doing whatever she's supposed to be doing. She's not good at deceit, I guess. Is that what's happening? Are the writers just...
I think that is what it's supposed to be, yeah. But it's bad. It's poorly portrayed.
Yeah, it does not.
And it's also, like, in conflict with all of the other stuff they're saying where they're like, oh, she's so hardened and spooky.
Yeah.
But not really. But she is.
It's, yeah, it doesn't play. Just, like, so much of that whole opening sequence is just like, that didn't really work.
It was good location, though. Like, it's cool that they're shooting on location and, like, going underwater and have underwater cameras and stuff.
I do
cool.
like that. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it.
It would have been cooler if they used it all to make compelling narrative, artistic stuff, but...
Yeah, for sure. Okay, anyway, let's go to the next scene. So, okay, then we, like, smash cut to, like, a bunch of luggage in the ocean, and the survivors being like, oh, fuck, everything's getting pulled out to sea somehow. And what happens during this part? Jack and Saeed are, like, talking about how weird it is that everything's getting pulled out to sea.
Jack and Saeed serve us up just a fucking recap. I get it. You're trying to keep people informed, but, like, the scene sucked for me because they're just, like, it's just a giant recap of everything.
It kind of is, yeah. It's like, okay, we're giving an update that it's weird the water's encroaching on the beach camp. And then everything else is just Jack being like, yeah, it would be better if people were at the caves. And...
Yeah, remember how some of us are on the beach and some of us in the caves? Also, remember the French woman that you encountered and what she told you? Like... Yeah.
Is this the part... Jack says, like, hey, we should translate the French woman's
I think
notes
that's this part,
and stuff. Yeah.
I think this is the only scene they have together.
Yeah, that's, like, important for the episode. Like that.
Yeah, it's just the exchange being so recappy sucked, because, again, I just didn't buy into it, because it didn't feel natural at all.
Yeah.
They do drop something about the island, which I was interested in, which Jack says, like, the rate of erosion, blah, blah, like, basically the rate of erosion is way too high.
Yeah.
And there's also this weird tide coming in way too fast business. So there's, like, weird time shit going on.
Yeah, they're saying, like, this is weird that this is happening. For sure. But that's kind of that. And then we have, like, a brief scene where, like, is the Boone and Shannon thing next? Basically, Boone walks up and, well, we get a little thing here where, like, Boone walks up and Shannon's like, where have you been? With your boyfriend locked out in the woods because you've been there for, like, 4 days, you fucking And then he's like... And then Boone's like, yeah, well, at least I'm doing something, you useless bitch. And then... and that's the conversation.
It's so bad.
It's really bad. It's like the casual, ineffective homophobia where it's just like, what is he, your boyfriend? Is like so stupid.
It's so ridiculous. Like, it really is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, at least Boone here shows some level of self-awareness because he says, like, everybody else thinks we suck, basically.
Yeah, it's true.
He's like, everyone thinks we're useless and annoying or whatever. It's like, yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
And the other, like, relevant piece of information here is that we learn, like, it's been 4 days since the last episode. So I guess Claire is just, like, missing. It seems like people have kind of given up on looking for her. Like, the trail's dead also, and whatever.
It reminded me that, like, oh yeah, we ended the last episode with a compelling, interesting thing with that, like, metal trapdoor thing.
Yeah, the momentum is just totally dead this episode.
Wouldn't it be cool if we, like, saw anything with that instead of Kate and Sawyer swimming?
Last episode on the Long Lost podcast.
Next episode, they're not just going to be like, that was weird, and walk away from it, I don't think.
I mean, who knows?
I mean, I'm pretty confident in that. Probably something will happen next episode instead of maybe next episode they will just sit around and bitch at each other some more.
So yeah, Lana was super duper right about that.
Yeah, it's like fucking...
Yeah, it's a real
it really
momentum
is.
Killer.
Yes, yeah. Even the past, like, 4 episodes or so have felt like there's been some rocky stuff, but they've at least been, like, gaining some sort of momentum, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, they're moving forward. Events are happening.
Yeah, and this one is just...
This one, no events. It is event-free.
It was like the writers like had the script in their hand for the season, and then they like just dropped the pages on the ground, and they were like, okay, shit, what order did this go in? And they kind of just like... All the scenes where they couldn't figure out where they were supposed to go, they just like put them into this episode.
Yeah, it really does feel bad, just momentum-wise. Like you said, it's not good.
But, at the end of this little argument, Shannon looks like...
sad.
Yeah, she looks sad at the implication that she's useless or whatever. Well, it's not an implication. He just, like, verbatim says that to her.
That is quite the implication. You are a useless bitch.
We also see that Charlie is, like, sad, sitting by himself. God, this episode is just...
It's really bad.
What even happens next?
We get a flashback.
Yeah, we see Kate looking sad at the fire, and we get a flashback. Do you wanna...
Yeah, sure. She's in a bank, looking to get a loan, ostensibly. She says she's a photographer who's been commissioned for some stuff, but then is totally uninterested when the guy talks about anything related to photography. The guy's also kind of flirting with her. That doesn't matter at all. She's just being like a boring Kate person. And then some robbers come in with guns. Everybody on the ground.
Oh, shit.
Oh, and then the guy who is helping her, like, oh, you're the manager? You gotta give us the key and open the thing. And she's on the ground with all the other customers being like, it's a bank robbery.
Yeah. I don't know. Bank robbery.
Whatever. Yeah.
I guess
it's a flashback.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about.
It's a flashback. There's never anything to say about flashbacks.
I mean, like, as we get further along, I think there is in the later flashback
later
scenes.
In the flash. I mean, this is always the case for flashbacks. The first 70% of them, there's absolutely nothing to be said about.
Yeah, it's just, like, stuff happening. Okay, so then back on the island, she tries to steal the briefcase from Sawyer while he's asleep. Oh, God, but actually, he's not asleep. And then we get the thing that I swear to God has happened to Kate, like, 5 times, where, like, Sawyer's like, yeah, and, like, does the thing, and then, like, she's, like, on top of him, and he's, like, grabbing her, and is, like, all flirty and shit, and he's like, oh, if you wanted to be on top of me,
don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. And then she just, like, headbutts him and gets away with the case, I believe is what happens here.
No, she doesn't get the case. He keeps the case. Like, literally nothing happens.
Sorry, I was flipping through the episode, and I froze it on a really funny script still, which I will send to you, like, on the next scene. But yeah, okay, so what happens in this part?
Fucking nothing happens. She tries to get the case and fails, and Sawyer's like, cool, you want this, don't you? And then she just, like, walks away, and he still has the case. Like, nothing happens. Like, actually nothing happens.
You're totally right. She headbutts him. I guess
yeah.
Is that something? God,
it's something. No, it is something. It's worth saying that she headbutts him.
Yeah, because it's like, it feels like an escalation in terms of what she's
also just because
done.
I want to talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, not a lot. But yeah, so basically that she tries to get the case back, fails because Sawyer is stronger than she is. And then she's like, darn, and leaves. Like,
yeah,
it's really pretty bad scene.
For sure. Well, you know what will cure your boredom from this shitty episode so far?
Some butt.
Shannon's ass.
Yeah.
Does that work?
No.
Did it work?
No, it did not work.
Yeah. Okay, Shannon's sunbathing or whatever. There's this really long shot where it's like she's like bathing on her back and then she's bathing on her front. It's like here's everything, you know. Saeed approaches her, and then we get this incredible shot, which I'm going to send to you right now.
So this shot is Shannon's feet up in the air and Saeed's face framed between them.
And it's like her feet are in the foreground and you can't see anything else of her body. It's just like legs sticking out of the ground, seemingly.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway. Fucking Saeed approaches and he's like, hey, can you do the thing where you speak French and you read these maps and fucking whatever that I got from Rousseau? And Shannon's like, no, I suck.
Shannon's like, no, my brother said I'm a worthless bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, have some self-confidence, girl. Basically, she just says, like, nah. And then Saeed says something that, like, maybe gets to her. Is that true? Does anything happen there?
I like Saeed in this episode. I like his performance in this episode too. Because to me, the way I'm reading Saeed here is that he's taking a very deliberate approach to his interaction with Shannon. It seems to me, I read it as deliberately more gentle and nurturing than he typically is with, like, anybody else. And it's because he wants something from her and thinks this is the best way to get that from her. I don't think he's, like, actually just trying to be nice to her. And I just think it's a good performance. But he is pretty, like, gentle and encouraging for the most part.
Yeah, he is like that. He's not like, hey, you, like, useless piece of meat. Can you, he's like, hey, you're the only person who speaks French. It would be helpful if you could do this. And like, I don't know, you're chill, right?
The thing he says that gets through to her at the end is he very gently says, like, can you at least try? Like in a very, very gentle way.
Yeah. That seems to be like getting through to her or whatever.
Yeah. That there's no expectation that like, basically you can't fail because we're already nowhere. Give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, then like we're where we started. Who cares? Yeah,
it's interesting that you feel like that's like a tactic that he is having, or tactic makes it sound like he.
No, I do think it's a tactic.
Yeah,
I do. Is that not how you read it?
No, because I feel like Saeed's normal way of being. Well, I guess we haven't seen him be like particularly gentle, but he's like chill until he's like not chill, you know?
I agree, but I just was reading the particular brand of like encouragement. He's usually chill, but not so just nurturing almost.
Yeah, he is kind of doing that.
And I read that as a tactic, which I think is cool. I like that for him.
Yeah, for sure. The next scene, there's so many weird scenes in this episode. Okay, the next scene, Sawyer is trying to pick the lock on the case, and he can't do it. And Michael is walking by, like basically everybody's been like moving shit off the beach or whatever. And Michael is walking by and he's like, good luck picking that lock. It's on a Halliburton. You're never going to be able to do that. And Sawyer's like, okay, what do you, fuck you or whatever. And Michael's like, yeah, you gotta use physics he says something that's extremely not physicsy.
Impact velocity.
And then Sawyer's like, in English, please, where he's like, you gotta like use a velocity of force or something.
Yeah.
Sawyer's like, what? And he's like, you gotta hit it really hard. And then also like Hurley is walking by and Michael's like, check this bum out. He's trying to pick a lock on a Halliburton. And Hurley's like, I know what that means. Ha 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 ha.
You're wasting your time, man. If you pick the lock on a Halliburton, I'll put you on my back and fly us to L.A.
What's he trying to do?
Pick the lock on a Halliburton. Good luck.
Is this sponsored by Halliburton? Like what?
Yeah, like what's happening? Why do both these people know what this random thing is?
Was like Halliburton the hot lock in 2004 and we just weren't aware, and like now it's out of the cultural sphere? Like it was so bizarre. It definitely acts as though like everybody knows what a Halliburton is.
It's like you like accidentally slipped into like a slightly different parallel dimension where it's just like, of course everybody knows that the lock of a Halliburton briefcase is impenetrable, and you're like,
yeah,
what? Like what's happening?
It's a very strange feeling. It's very, very strange.
At first, I was like, is this the show being racist? Because like Michael knows about lockpicking or something. But then it's like Hurley also.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb.
It's just like weird. It's just like random. It's like, why did this happen? Honestly, your thing of like, did Halliburton sponsor this episode? I wonder if they did.
I wonder that too.
Funny.
Genuinely, yeah. If it's a product placement, yeah.
Did Halliburton? We're doing a little detour. Sponsor season 1, episode 12? Can't find anything about that. I think it's just fucking weird.
Upon further research, it turns out that yes, it was absolutely product placement, which I guess makes it less weird and confusing, but not any less terrible. It was bad. Bad, 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 bad.
I think it's just fucking weird, which is so strange because we've talked about it before. It's just an unforced error. Like, there was no need to put this weird thing in. It's not like you had to do it because later it's relevant for this reason. Like, no, you just wrote a weird thing.
Yeah, it's a weird one. What is going on with this episode? Like, for fucking real. Okay, after this incredibly bizarre lock scene...
We get another lock scene.
Yeah, we get a different lock scene where...
Do we, though?
Like...
Is this a scene?
Do they do anything?
No, like, okay. Michael goes like, oh, you need to hit it with something hard, like an axe. And then we see that Boone brought Locke the axe.
Uh-huh.
I
enjoyed that edit of like, here's where the axe is. But then that's like not a thing in the episode, so it's kind of like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, also, like, Boone and Locke have a little exchange about like, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter, so I won't say it. They have a small exchange. And then they just like walk into the jungle. Like, nothing happens. It's just there to be like, remember how we had an interesting thing last episode? Don't forget.
It is just that. It literally is that. Fucking pointless.
They should have removed that scene from the episode. It does nothing in the episode.
Yeah, because we already get that update from Shannon in the beginning, right?
No, it's...
So, like, just... God.
It's really bad. Nothing happened. Like, literally nothing happens in it.
Yeah, because we don't see them again this episode. That was it.
We talked about the momentum. I wonder if we are supposed to be, like, tantalized and itching to know more about what's going on with Locke and the trapdoor thing. And we're supposed to be, like, on the edge of our seats, like, oh, what's going on with that? But I'm, like, not, because that's not what I'm watching. I'm just, like, watching this bad thing instead.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold any tension for me because it's just off over there in nowhere land.
Yeah, it's like following the momentum of that was, like, what was interesting. I don't know, maybe if they had said something like alluding to what they were digging up or whatever, and then you're like,
Yeah, that would have been the scene to have Locke say something to Boone about, we're almost through to the core, or, you know, like whatever, like something, like, I think we've almost got it. But they don't even do that much, so...
Yeah,
It's really terrible.
It's really not anything. All right, what? Fucking hell! What happened?
Rose.
What happens
next?
Rose, who we haven't seen in like a bunch of episodes.
I like Rose as I think she serves a good place among our cast of characters.
Yeah. Why don't you describe this scene and then tell me your sort of thoughts?
Charlie's looking sad, and Rose is dragging stuff up the beach with everybody else, and is basically like, hey dude, you want to fucking help out? And Charlie's like, no, didn't you hear I'm sad? And then Rose is like, buddy, we're all fucking sad. Fucking help me with this thing. And then he's like shamed into helping her with the thing.
Yeah, but she has kind of like a a mom energy about it.
Yeah.
Of like, she's not being like, you're horrible. She's just like, yeah, like we're all suffering.
And we're all still moving, because we need to be moving. Like, there's things need doing, so we're going to do them. Like, can you please help me carry this? And then he does. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. I like her energy. Which feels like an insane thing to say. But no,
it's
yeah,
a good
genuinely.
Energy. And it's the other character in the show. I think it's important to have her. I like that we're seeing her more in this episode. That you've got Locke with his weird faith energy going on. And I love that shit. But I think it's really good to have Rose to almost counterbalance that, and just having another character who is depicted as being very faith-driven in a different way.
Right, because for her, she's like Christian. Like, it's very like Christian faith. But
yeah, and I just think that it's good and cool. And I think she's a good presence to balance out and mix with other characters. Yeah,
I like having her around. Like, it's cool to see more of her.
Sorry, I was just looking ahead.
What, like the next?
Yeah.
What were you looking at?
Now we see Sawyer just smashing this briefcase on some rocks. A lot.
I'm remembering the scene, yeah.
Like, a lot. Like, it keeps cutting, and he does it, I don't know, like 15 times. He's just smashing this thing against some rocks.
He's smashing it. He's trying.
But goddamn, a Halliburton briefcase with a lock.
It's like impenetrable.
Yeah.
Then he Sawyer climbs up a tree with it.
It's like a cliff.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cliff.
Yeah, whatever.
And then he's like, all right. And then he throws the briefcase off of the cliff, trying to break it open by throwing it on the ground.
That's a good drop. That's
hits the ground, doesn't break.
It's 20 feet.
Yeah, and then Kate emerges out of the reeds like a little fucking gremlin or something, and just grabs the briefcase. And Sawyer's like, "Oh, you darned girl," or
it's
whatever.
So fucking bad.
And Kate just runs away with it, and that's it, right?
So yeah, that's it. Now Kate has it. So
it's
oh my lord, it is so bad. So first of all, I actually kind of like the smashing it on the rocks before he climbs the tree cliff thing. Just because I just like the when you see somebody doing something super repeatedly, and you just keep doing quick cuts between the different attempts. I don't know. I just like that. It just feels cool to me.
You just like that filmic trope.
Yeah, because it's you see somebody. It's a very quick way to show this person's been at this for a while and they're getting frustrated and stuff. I just like it. But then he climbs the thing, and as soon as he climbs the thing, I'm like, okay, you're going to throw it off. It was so predictable that Kate was going to come out and take it because it's Sawyer putting himself at great distance away from the briefcase. So to me, it was really predictable that Kate was going to come out and steal it there. But also, it was somehow simultaneously predictable and shocking when she does, because you're right. She just pops out like a gremlin. It's so weird.
She just kind of walks on screen.
I feel like that should have been shot. Should have been shot and using different angles. Just it could have been shot so much better that it didn't look so weird. You on a lower angle through some bushes to see Kate crouching and waiting for her moment or some shit, right? And then she comes out. But no, she just walks out of the jungle and is like, cool, I have this now.
Yeah. It's okay, so
but
now
does she have
Kate...
it now? Because the next scene is Sawyer chasing her down, tackling her, and just taking it back.
That is what fucking happens.
So
they do.
It's so fucking pointless. This whole fucking episode should have been 12 minutes long.
There's a lot of filler in this plotline. Basically, okay, so I guess the one thing that happens is so Sawyer tackles her and gets the briefcase back. And then he's like, okay, I'll give it to you if you just tell me what's in it, because I'm just really curious. And then Kate makes her little face where she furrows her little brows, doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
And that's it. That was that scene.
They had no other opportunity to slip that in. This is the one place they could have fucking done it. They couldn't do it the other 85 times Kate tries to steal it and fails.
Yeah, it is literally it could have been in the first scene when they first get it. But it's just it's padded out, you know?
This episode was so boring, just because we get so much time, so much screen time of just Kate trying to get the briefcase and losing because she is not as strong as Sawyer is. No joke, we probably get 8 or 9 minutes of that on loop.
Yeah, it is so whatever.
There's a kind of funny part here, though. She tries to headbutt him again, and he's ready for it and dodges out of the way, and he's like, you gotta learn a new trick or something, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, he's figured out her technique, I guess.
You like headbutting people. That's your thing. I didn't think it was actually funny. I just thought it was funny that they included that for some reason.
Yeah, that's her special move. It's just headbutting people.
Oh my goodness.
Christ. Okay, so
wait. He also says. Oh, I resonated with this line big time. Sawyer says, he goes. He gets the case back from him and he goes, okay, this is just silly. And I'm like, yeah, it is, Sawyer. You're fucking right. This is just silly. What are we out here doing? And I feel like this episode is making very bold assumptions about how much I give a fuck about this stupid briefcase that I don't give a fuck about at all.
It's hard to care about it if you don't really care about what's been happening with Kate, right?
If you don't care about Kate, and we aren't given an opportunity to speculate about what is in it because we don't know anything about Kate. It's not like we saw something in one of her earlier flashbacks or even in a flashback in this episode where we're like, oh, is it that ring that she was very protective of?
Yeah, well...
we don't have anything to speculate on. So it's just... This show constantly asks us to care about things without giving us a reason to.
It does do that. yes, it's often like, here's a thing. I wonder what's going on with that. And it only sometimes actually attaches like stakes to that or makes it something that's like actually interesting or compelling. Because it's like, briefcase, I don't know, what could be in there? Whatever.
It's abstract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it could be anything.
Exactly. Like, what are...
The trapdoor thing, it's like, oh, there's a structure on the island, like, assuming it is a trapdoor or whatever. Like, what's under there? Like, this changes who is on the island, why this island is here, a new place they can explore. Like, there's actual things to give a shit there. Whereas...
For sure.
This, I just don't care.
Totally. I will say, okay, the next flashback does do some of that. It gives you something to speculate on. Here's what happens. You ready? You ready for this? So...
Yeah...
I'm ready. Here we go. Kate, it's a fucking bank robbery, and fucking everybody in the bank's on the ground. And basically, like, you know, they're trying to get the robbers are, like, trying to get the manager to give them the key or whatever. And he's like, and then, like, Kate is, like, over there. And there's some guy next to her who's like, I think I could take one of them. And he, like, charges at one of the robbers, and the gun goes flying, and then... it lands near Kate, and the guy who charged the robber is like, get the gun, shoot him. And Kate grabs the gun, and she's like, oh, and she like points it at one of the robbers, and the robber's like pointing his gun at her, and he's like walking over to her, and she's like, oh, I don't know how to use it. No, it's not shooting. And the robber like gets the gun, and then is like, all right, little hero, I'm gonna take care of you, or whatever, and like takes her to a back room. And then they get behind closed doors, and he, like, rips his mask off. And then he's like, nice work, babe. And she's like, yeah, haha. And then they make out.
It's gross. This was disgusting.
What,
specifically the makeout. The makeout was, like, actually, like, I'm not joking. Like, it was upsetting for me to watch.
Why is that?
It felt...
Why? Tell me about that.
I think there's a few reasons, right? First of all, again... I'm just not buying into the events that are being portrayed because they don't... I'm not asking for perfect realism, right? That's not what I'm asking for. But I don't buy into the narrative. You're in the middle of a bank robbery. I do not believe you're making out like this because I don't believe that you are damaged psychopaths. Like, I think that you are basically rational people.
You're overlooking the fact that Kate is a fucking freak and she just wants to get laid. It's the middle of a robbery. About that.
Honestly, like, I was like, oh, is that like... Is it that Kate, like, gets off on, like, being, like, making out and fucking in, like, dangerous situations? Like...
That's, like, what... this is another piece of evidence for that.
Okay,
and I know that it's actually because the writers suck, but this is, like...
No, yeah.
You know.
I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Points for Kate's a freak.
It's points for Kate's a freak, and also, like, gives it additional context, not just in terms of, like, she's a freak, but, like, she's into... I guess it's not exhibitionism, but, like, she's into dangerous, risky fucking.
Yeah, yeah.
So on top of I just don't buy it because this is not how these characters would behave, so you're losing me from the narrative aspect. It was, and it feels very strange for me to say this about two characters just kissing. It felt very gratuitous. Like, they're really going at it for an extended period of time.
They're very making out, for sure.
Part of it is that I don't find him attractive at all, and I really don't like her. So I'm just like, literally, maybe this is, I don't know, a bad thing to say or whatever, but literally, fundamentally, I don't want to be seeing this. Like, this is not something I want to be looking at.
You're just
at
like,
all.
No, I don't want this.
Yeah, so I really hated it.
You know, I think it's throwing a little twist, I guess.
I don't think it was a twist either. I mean, I
guess it's that. I am surprised that other people in the bank didn't get suspicious that the robber didn't just shoot her as soon as, like, she was pointing a gun at him.
I give that a pass just because murder is going to get you more time.
Sure, but if somebody's pointing a gun at you...
Sure. No, I mean, yeah, but I could see random woman grabs a gun, you potentially not finding her that threatening depending on how she behaves with the gun. I'm not saying it's totally accurate. I'm just saying it didn't bother me personally. Like, that bit, I didn't have any resistance to that bit.
Okay, let's say you're doing this bank robbery.
Okay.
Would you have shot her?
See, I guess this is what I'm saying. I don't think I would have.
Damn. I don't think you have what it takes to be a bank robber.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because basically, I think that, like, and this is part of the reason I think you're right, is that, like, I would go into this bank robbery. Basically, I might as well go into this bank robbery with an unloaded gun, right?
Because you're like, I ain't shooting anybody.
Yeah, I'm not using it. It's just, here to be threatening. Like, I'm not actually going to fucking shoot anybody. And I think maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't have any weird feelings about that part. But I did just, I don't know, as soon as we get the first flashback with her and then the bank robbers come in, I'm like, oh, she's part of it. Obs.
It does feel kind of obvious because they've set up that she's a criminal or whatever.
Yeah, there's no twist. I don't even know if there's supposed to be a twist, but it didn't feel like a twist to me.
I feel like it kind of is supposed to be like a surprise, but it kind of is not that, Well, now I'm more mad because I feel like they think I'm stupid. Before, I just thought they were stupid, and now I think that they think that I'm stupid, and it's even more upsetting. Damn. Rip. Okay. Fucking damn. This is an episode of Lost. That was the thing that I said to you after I watched it. I was like, that was an episode of Lost.
Which makes me kind of afraid for the future, honestly.
Well, the thing is, the previous ones have more so been episodes of Lost, I would say.
Yeah, but you didn't send to me that was an episode of Lost after. This is the one you chose to send, so that's why I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't say that after one I really liked.
Yeah, that's true. It's also, what is there to say after watching this one?
What is there to say? You could say, wow, that episode sucked and was really boring. You could say that.
Okay, what happens?
We get Shannon and Saeed.
They're hanging out. Yeah.
Saeed continues his gentle treatment of Shannon and is encouraging her, and she's like, I don't know this. And then he's like, just believe in yourself. Cool, but also, like, believing in yourself and confidence doesn't make you know things that you don't know.
Yeah, it is, like, actually kind of... I mean, I get it.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not too mad about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's only an extent to which being like, believe in yourself will help you understand a foreign language.
Yeah.
Shannon gives some context about, like, she spent some time living in France or something with some guy, and that's, like, how she knows French.
Yeah. Yeah, that, I guess, will be important.
I feel like these two, I like their chemistry in this scene. I think they, like, work well off each other, I think this scene actually, it works pretty well. Just being this kind of, like, gentle moment between these two.
I agree, and I think it's because I like Saeed.
Yeah, that does help, for sure.
And, like, Shannon is fine, actually, as a character.
It's that the writers are so shitty to her, and that they use her to be very misogynist. Like, that's kind of what sucks. She doesn't, like, annoy me,
Yeah,
she doesn't, like, make me be like, fuck that girl, or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I mean, for me, what it was nice getting was a scene that didn't, like, I'm being completely serious. It was nice getting a scene that didn't revolve around Kate and the briefcase. Because I was like, oh, yeah, two characters who have characterizations, and when you put those two different characterizations together, creates a dynamic mix that's different than other characters would when you put them together, like...
Yeah.
It's cool to see that. And that's the strength, I think, of this show with its ensemble cast. And just getting all of the Kate briefcase bits. It felt like a reprieve from that, of just being like, oh, that's right. This is what I like about this show. Like, cool.
It is cool. Like, these little moments, I feel like, often work in this show,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I agree. Like little Hurley moments.
Yeah. Not the one in this episode, but, like, generally... Broadly, yeah. Or like last episode. Was last episode the one with Walt? Like that Walt had a bunch of scenes with people that were good?
Walt and Sawyer, yeah.
And Walt and Hurley. Yeah, it's just... Kate is a bummer.
There's also... Saeed has a moment where he's really cute. He's like...
Aw.
Yeah, he's like...
Find a man who looks at you like this, you know what I mean? Do you want to describe this picture? Also, I like that we're telling a story here with our pictures in our chat, because the first one was Shannon's feet. And this one, Shannon is, like, looking at the papers in front of them and trying to translate. She's, like, smiling, looking at them. And Saeed has, like, his head resting in his hand and is looking at her and is like, he looks so gentle and smiling. He's like,
yeah,
little, he kind of looks like he's got, like, a little crush in this shot.
Yeah, which I think he doesn't, but he does look very cute.
Yeah.
checking me out?
Yes. My husband doesn't know.
I asked them, what were you thinking? Don't stop to think, just right now.
All right, what happens next? They have this little scene. Sun appears, which feels like... I was like, damn, where has she been? Where's Jin been? Like, especially.
Oh, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, they've just, like, not been present. And she's collecting plants, and they're for a headache or whatever, and Jack's like, what are they for? And she, like, kind of motions to indicate it's a headache thing. And then Kate comes in and is like, Jack, we have a problem. And Jack's like, do we have a problem, or do you have a problem?
I wrote down that line. I love that line.
Yes, I do like that Jack is kind of just, like, tired of her shit.
Jack's over it in this episode. I love Jack in this episode.
He's pretty over it. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Basically, Kate's like, okay, there was this, the marshal who was escorting me had a case, and there's guns in it, and Sawyer has it. And Jack's like, yeah, that sounds like it'll probably be a problem, I guess. And then Kate's like, okay, the marshal had the key in his wallet. And Jack's like, I buried him. And then Kate's like, basically they agree to dig the marshal up if Jack is allowed to be with her while they open the case.
Yeah, because Jack asks, he's like, what's in it? And she's like, guns. And then Jack's like, okay, Kate, what else is in it?
Yeah.
He pretty much, at this point, is explicitly saying, you are lying to me. I do not trust you.
Yeah.
I'll give you this opportunity to almost like regain my trust by we open it together and I get to see what's in it. And that's how, they agree. I love Jack in this scene.
Yeah, he's very at the end of his rope. I can you remind me, like, what has brought him to be at this point with her?
I don't know that we have had a moment in particular. I would argue that it's just she's incredibly annoying and frustrating, and he's just existed around her. Like, honestly, that's my take. She kept being resilient to him. He kept trying to be like, it doesn't matter what we did in the past. Like, let's just be honest. He keeps trying to be like, let's be honest with each other. And she keeps kind of avoiding that. So I think it's just kind of that vibe.
Okay, I think that this is cool that Jack is like this. I think it's also, like, a little bit undermined by, like, last episode, there was a scene where Kate was like, well, here's the thing about my dad. Even though that scene was not effective, it feels like it probably shouldn't have been there if we're going to have this be where Jack is at.
I agree with you. No, I totally agree with you. I think you're right, just structurally. But I would make the in-world argument that her little, and we talked about this at the time, that her little revelation when he was like, can you tell me anything true about yourself that's like, real about yourself? And she gives that thing. Her thing was dumb. Sorry. Like, it was not what he was asking for.
Yeah. It's also, like, not even really about her. It's, like, about her dad.
Yeah, it was just like a literal statement of a fact about her life in the past, like, which is totally not what he was asking for. I agree that structurally it shouldn't be there because of what they're doing now, but in-world can totally buy him being like, well, that didn't go anywhere, even after her doing that, just being like,
totally
cool, failed again to actually get anywhere.
For sure. It's like this is the point that he's been at. And I agree that it feels less like there's a specific thing that happened and more just like it's been over the course of like kind of the whole, their whole relationship. It's been getting more tense where he's like, where she just like won't be vulnerable with him and he's like frustrated by that.
Yeah, and he's been giving her many opportunities. He keeps trying and she keeps rebuffing him. So it feels like this is the point where he's just given up. He's like, I've given you so many opportunities. I've tried so many times and I've hit my I'm done point.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm right there with you, Jack. I was trying to give her opportunities too.
Okay, so they agree to dig up this body.
Which is gnarly, by the way.
Yeah, that is like a grim task, for sure. Then we get another little Charlie Rose moment. Charlie's like helping Rose move stuff around, which is nice. And then like they have a little moment where, Charlie's like, this island's dangerous and there's like big monster and whatever. And then like Rose is like, you should stop blaming yourself. Like she kind of cuts through his thing and is like, you're blaming yourself for what happened to Claire and it's like not your fault. And you gotta ask for help. And Charlie's like, who should I ask? and it cuts to a cross in the ground.
It does cut to a cross in the ground.
It's pretty...
I like this scene, though. I like the scene. And I
like that they're having this little thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the thing. I like that she seems to be having success in getting through to Charlie in a way that we haven't really seen other people trying, but that in a way that other people aren't. Like, I could see Jack struggling to get through to Charlie in this instance because he just doesn't have that interpersonal gravitas or whatever to do it. Whereas Rose can be like, hey, it's not your fault. Like, I see what's going on here and I'm telling you it's not your fault. Blah, blah, blah. I thought it was a really good scene.
Yeah, we're kind of like establishing her as she's like emotionally intelligent and is also very kind of no bullshit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because like she's no bullshit in a very different way from a character like Jack, who is also like that, right? He's like...
Yeah.
He's very direct, but he's like direct in a sort of practical way.
He's direct in a practical way, and she's direct in an emotional way.
Yeah. She's like, okay, I can actually get what's going on here. Here's the deal. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to be straight up with what is going on, with what other people need, with what you need.
Jack is very, very direct in terms of, I need you to put this tarp over there to keep us from getting wet. And then Rose is very direct in terms of like, I need you to get better, to become a healthier person. They just have different kind of objectives with their directness, which is cool. It's great. How did you feel about the overt religious Christian stuff going on?
I fucking hated it. Yeah. I gotta be real.
No, it's fine. I'm just like, why?
Here's why. The prior places where faith has come up, it has felt more like a story about faith or like broadly like how that like operates in your life. My issue with this is that it's so directly like Christian faith. Charlie's like, who do I ask for help? And it's like, Jesus is the answer.
I guess the reason it doesn't bother me at all is just that is Rose, right? Like, she is very Christian and whatnot.
I would say it makes sense that they have this dynamic. Like, it makes sense for these two characters to have this dynamic because we've seen that Charlie at one point was Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Even if now he's like not really Catholic. So like, it makes sense that that would be the form that his faith would take in a place where he's trending towards that, right? The reason that why do I hate it? Is it just like hatred of like Christianity? Like maybe. I feel like, okay, here's the thing. I feel like it is doing the thing that Christians will do where their interaction with God or with the divine is very just like it'll be like, oh, I'm having all these problems, whatever. And the Christian solution is like, you just gotta pray. Like, you just gotta ask, give it up to God.
Okay.
And God will help you out.
That makes sense to me. That would...
And it's like, that doesn't like mean anything. Like, it's like, what does it mean to go to God for help? Right? Like, it doesn't like, it's very vapid. It's very like,
I agree.
Or it's very vacuous, I guess.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. And that makes sense as to like she's not saying we're a community, we're all going to help each other, we'll get through this, like, don't lose hope on Claire, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she's saying, everything, you're right that everything sucks, buddy, but just like, don't worry about that and talk to this dude.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like, there's parallels here. Rose's husband was on the other half of the plane, and it seems like he's dead, right? But Rose is like, I know he's alive. Like, I have faith that he's alive. And I kind of wish that, like, that's what Charlie was looking for Faith to help him with, right? A belief that, like, she'll be okay, that Claire will be okay or something. Instead, it's very nebulous. It's like he's feeling shitty and guilty, and he has to ask God for help with those feelings. Like, do you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not like a direct thing where, like, this is the actual thing that Faith is supplying.
It's just interesting being... I hope I'm not defending Christianity at all here, but it's interesting being the one who wasn't incredibly pissed off by the Christianity thing. I
wouldn't say that I was pissed off. I was just eye-rolly. I was eye-rolly about it.
I see. For me, I wouldn't say I was like, wow, this is great, right? But it worked fine. Like, it didn't actually bother me at all. I didn't really even have any eye rolling over it, just because I'm like, yeah, that's Rose. That's who she is. Like, and maybe that aspect of her is, from my perspective, pretty silly, but that is just who she is. And I buy that that's who she is. The show cutting to the cross is too cute for me.
Yes, that particularly just that shot.
Yeah.
Like, I
like, have Rose be Rose and try to get through to Charlie in the way that she knows from her context and experiences. The cut has nothing to do with Rose. Rose is not editing this episode. Like,
it feels
what are we doing?
Yeah.
That I do agree about the cut.
Yeah, so it cuts to the place where Jack buried the guy, the marshal.
The marshal.
And they're gonna dig him up. Okay, so now it goes to another flashback, right? Kate, back in the bank with knockoff Chris Pratt here. Basically, they're like, all right, we've made out for long enough. Let's go back in there. You know, he punches her in the face to make it look like there is something rough going on, right? And then, like, throws her back in the room and is threatening her and is like, basically telling the manager, I'm going to kill her if you don't do whatever, if you don't let us into the vault. And this convinces the bank manager to
do whatever. To
do the thing, to let them into the vault. Yeah, that's it. Yep. That is what happens. Okay, this next part. All right. So now we're back on it's the body. It's all gross. It's fucking rotting and shit.
It is really gross, like, actually.
They have dug up this, like, gross body. They're both, like, kind of coughing or almost dry heaving at, like...
Yeah, they're, like, gagging.
Stench of the rot and shit. And then Kate goes into the guy's pockets and, like, gets the wallet, right? And she opens it up, and then there's all these, like, maggots and gross shit, and she's like, ugh! And she drops it.
I don't like maggots.
Yeah. And then Jack, like, picks up the wallet, flips through it, and there's no key. And then he's like, that was some nice sleight of hand, Kate. And he, like, grabs her hand, which is clenched into a fist, and she opens it, and the key was in there. She, like, snagged it. She, like, did some sleight of hand to get the key out. And Jack is like, I think he takes the key and is like, this is bullshit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he takes the key, and I forget exactly what he says or whatever, but the vibe I got was, yeah, just basically like, come on, Kate. Like,
yeah, he's like, he's over it.
Like, I'm not dumb. Like, fuck you. You're dumb. This is dumb.
Yeah. This moment, I think, is actually good.
Okay. I thought it was fine. I didn't have as much problem with it.
I wasn't, like, floored, but here's my thing. This is, like, the thing that I think, at least, that we've been asking for, where it's, like, Kate actually doing an untrustworthy action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With, like, a person that she trusts. It's, like, because before we've had all this stuff where it's, like, why wouldn't you trust her? It seems like she's kind of followed through on helping people out all the time and doing whatever. And here's the thing where she actually was, like, not only lying, but, like, actively doing this, like, deception towards Jack, who is somebody who she's, like, been trying to get to trust her or whatever, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just that this is kind of what I was talking about when I was saying, like, I've seen enough Kate. I've made up my mind about this character. And to change my mind about it, it's going to take more than it would have from episode 1, right?
Yeah, like, if this was, like,
this is just 12 episodes too late. Is the problem with it. So you're right. It does do that. It just needs to continue to have moments that actually characterize her consistently, repeatedly, for like 3 or 4 more episodes. And maybe I'll change how I feel. But one moment out of 12 episodes is not... Like, I agree, though, that you're right. That this is a scene that does do something for her character.
Yeah. I'm more open to being like, okay, if they want to do a little soft... Not even a soft rewrite, but just trying to, like, fix some of that stuff. It's going to take less work for me to get on board with that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I still kind of agree. It's like her performance is, like, not great. And mostly just, like, she's not very interesting, but I do like that they have this moment where she actually does something untrustworthy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next scene. Okay, Saeed, he's getting a little frustrated. Shannon's been, like, trying to translate the map and the whatever, and all the stuff that she says doesn't seem to make any sense. It's all, like, weird, poetic stuff, but, like, is it even that? Like, is she even correctly reading it, you know? And Saeed's just like, yeah, none of this shit makes any sense. And then Shannon is like, she gets frustrated with him and is like, yeah, my French sucks. Also, Rousseau probably, is crazy and shit.
Yeah, which totally makes sense.
Yeah, she's frustrated, he's frustrated, and Saeed's like, well, this was stupid. This is not going to work out. And then Shannon storms off.
I don't have that much to say about the scene, but I think that it works and it makes sense for both their characters and was a reasonable and, rational conclusion to this venture. And that, yeah, Shannon started this whole thing by being like, I can't do this. And then she's trying and Saeed is like, this is dumb and wrong. She's like, yo, bro, like, first of all, I didn't write it. Second of all, I told you I couldn't do it. And he's just mad because he wants his info.
Totally.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I liked it.
Yeah, this scene, I agree. It does its little thing. What happens next? Okay, the next scene, basically, Jack approaches Sawyer and is like, hey, you're going to give me the briefcase because I'm going to take away your meds if you don't. And they have a little threatening thing. Sawyer's like, I don't think you'll do it. And Jack's like, I totally fucking will. And then Sawyer's like, all right, here's the briefcase, whatever.
I like this scene quite a lot, actually. Sawyer tells him, he's making quips about Kate, like, oh, I figured at some point she'd send you to do her dirty work. And when Jack gets the briefcase, he goes, I don't know what she told you to get you to do this, but she's a liar. And I like that because Jack already knows that. Like, I like that Jack is already on the same page, but isn't revealing that to Sawyer.
Yeah.
I like that. It's just a cool dynamic of Jack. That's where Jack is. Jack is annoyed with Kate. He is over Kate. He thinks she's a liar. But he's not going to tell Sawyer that. That's cool.
Because he kind of, like, fucking hates this guy. But, yeah.
Like, why would he?
It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them... This is like when the show works when characters... When it's like people are, like, kind of on the same side, but also everybody's got these, like, dense networks of, like, I don't know, tensions with each other or whatever,
It's just this big ensemble and everybody is a different color. And when you mix
wow.
Jack's red with Sawyer's blue, you get purple.
Whoa.
But then if you mix Jack's red with Charlie's yellow, you get orange. And it's cool to see all the different pretty colors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I did think it would have been fun if, in my heart, what I wanted, and I'm not disappointed that it didn't go this way, but whatever. In my heart, what I wanted was for Jack to just be like, yo, what's up, Sawyer? I got the key. Let's open this bitch.
I kind of would have liked that too. But, I feel like I'm fine with them still being at odds with each other.
Totally. I'm not upset by it in any way. I just thought that would have been really funny if Jack was just like, you know what, Sawyer? You're right. Fuck Kate. Let's see what's in here, because you got the briefcase. I got the key. We're doing this.
Sounds like the start of a Jack Sawyer /Vic. Okay, so then Jack, gets the case and he goes over to Kate and he's like, all right, Kate. I said we were going to open it together, so that's what we're going to fucking do. Let's go do that.
Well, he throws a nice little zinger at her, which I liked, yeah.
What was the little zinger?
Well, because, Kate goes basically like, why? Like, you have the briefcase and the key. Why would you include me? And Jack is just like, in a very tired way. He's just like, because I fucking said I would. I'm not a fucking liar.
Yeah. And, okay, so they go off to do that, and we go into the last flashback. Do you want to recount this one?
Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Let's do it. I can do it.
You got this. I believe in you.
Yeah, the guy's opening the thing, and they're putting all the money in the bags and stuff. And then the guy's like, well, I opened the thing. At least let the girl go. And then this man decides that he likes murder. So he takes his mask off. Yeah. And starts revealing to this bank manager that it was Kate that planned the whole thing. I guess, to be like, oh, you think you're saving her? No, she's the one who is robbing you in the first place. Fucking got him. This guy seems like a really terrible bank robber. I just want to imagine a bank robber to be more focused and on executing the bank robbery and getting the money and then leaving. Instead of being showed you.
It's a pretty dumbass move.
It's so dumb.
They have it in the bag.
Yeah.
They got it right now. They could just fucking leave.
But no, he just has to rub it in his face that this girl is the one who set the whole thing up.
And okay, and then what happens?
So then he's gonna murder him because he showed his face and he's like, I'm just cleaning up. And then Kate grabs a gun and is like, no, don't murder him because if you shoot him, I'll shoot you. And then it looks like the guy's gonna shoot him, so she shoots him in the leg, and then the other robbers are like, what the fuck? And then she does some fucking Matrix shit and is shooting behind her and shit, and just shoots two other dudes. And then, so that all happens.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then she like goes to the manager, who's like, I need the key for a certain lock safety deposit box.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? You came that was all for this? And then she's like, yeah. And then she gets from the box just like an envelope and then leaves. She gets the envelope. Yeah, that's what we see.
She gets the envelope. And then the bank robber guy, who I don't even know if he's her boyfriend or just like some dude, is like, fuck you. I hate you.
Yeah.
It's a terrible scene. It's really bad. It's really dumb.
You know, she gets a little thing. She shoots some guys.
I just don't care. It's too dumb to care about. Like, my brain doesn't want to acknowledge that this happened because it's so dumb. So I can't file that into my Kate as a character stuff that she like shot people because it's too dumb. So it could not have happened.
It's
like,
very
this whole scene is so dumb.
Yeah, it's
also like Kate still can't let anybody die. Like, have Kate be there and have the idiot dude shoot the bank manager. Kate didn't shoot the fucking bank manager, but she let it happen even though she was like, no, don't shoot him. She tried to stop it. But hey, she's not going to grab a gun and start shooting everybody to stop it because that would be wild. Like, have that fucking happen, right?
But this is her deal. I guess she will shoot people in the
but it would be... Would it not have been so much better for her character and also made her character darker in a simplistic good guy versus bad guy way? It would have made her character more of a bad guy if she hadn't shot the bank robbers and had let the bank manager get murdered. Had fought against it, but not actually stepped in and stopped.
I suppose so. You know,
I'm definitely right.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I'm not sure if that would be like, that direction would be better. It's like, it's just kind of whatever, you know?
It's dumb. It's a dumb scene.
I guess, like, we have learned that she will shoot people, you know? That's information.
I don't care.
She'll try not to kill them.
I don't care. Also, just like, if
yeah,
you
that's
want
kind
her...
of the rub of the problem, isn't it?
The point of all of this is that, like, she's doing crime to get the thing in the safety deposit box. There's so much more interesting crime that she could be... Like, why did they needed that to happen? And then they went, what's the dumbest possible way? We need to get to point D, and we are at point A. What is the dumbest possible B and C that we can use? Like, it's just bad.
Yeah, it's very whatever. I feel whatever about it. Less than, like, actively bad. But, it's like, terrible. Okay, so she gets this fucking envelope, and then we cut back to the cave. Jack and Kate are there, and they open the suitcase together. And there's a bunch of guns in it, so that's true. And then there's an envelope in it. And Jack's like, is this the thing that you fucking wanted, this envelope? And then, like, he gives it to Kate, and she opens it, and there's a little toy plane in it. And Jack's like, what is it? And basically, Kate's like, it belonged to the man I loved. And then Jack's like, no, but actually, fucking what is it? And this goes back and forth until she's like, it belonged to the man I killed. And then she's like weeping. And then Jack just like, he's just like had enough of this shit. And he just walks away.
Yeah.
And that's the shit. Yeah. That's the culmination of that story.
Jack is just like, this was so dumb. This whole thing was just so dumb.
So I guess, like, we learned that she killed someone.
We don't, because she's a fucking liar. We don't know anything.
That's kind of true. She does lie a lot. She does a crying, you know? Maybe that means it's real.
Oh boy. Okay, so if it had lingered on her crying for another 1.5 seconds, like, I was really expecting it to linger on her crying and have her do the thing where she's, like, peeking through her fingers at Jack walking away.
It's like fake crying.
Yeah, fake crying to be like, oh, is he gone? Can I stop now? Like, that's what I was expecting. And I'm not. I'm just so lost a lot of the time. I'm lost. In terms of, like, what are they trying to do? Because what they're trying to do, they're doing it so fucking poorly that I can't even get a grip on what they're trying to do. There's a world in which I totally believe that she's fake crying and that that all of it was her avoiding answering Jack by being like, the man I killed. Right? There's a world in which I totally believe that. And if that isn't the case, I think that part of it, not all of it, but part of it is down to the performance being not convincing. I'm like, watching it, I'm like, oh, this looks like somebody faking. Like, this doesn't ring true to me, this person, how they're behaving right now or whatever. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that Jack just walks away.
I like Jack in the scene, yeah.
He's pretty cold about it. He's just like, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And I guess he ends up with the suitcase full of guns also.
Which is good. He's probably the one who should have that.
Yeah.
Or Saeed, maybe? I don't know. Saeed has done
Saeed
more
sometimes goes
things.
off the handle. Though
Yeah.
Jack has also done that a couple of times in recent episodes. He was chasing after Claire and stuff.
Find a, I don't know, therapist?
I have a therapist, which means that there's a mother nearby.
What happens next? Okay, so everybody who was on the beach, they all head back in to the trees by the beachside. So they have to do that because they dragged all their shit and whatever. Charlie and Rose have a little scene. Basically, Rose tells Charlie about her husband, and then Charlie starts like crying, and Rose does a little praying with him.
Charlie goes, "Help me.
Help me."
And then Rose goes, "Oh, it's not me. It's the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He died for our sins. And every Sunday you must drink his blood."
It is very like that, yes.
Yeah.
How did you feel about this?
I was totally fine with that. I'm good with all of it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good scene, actually.
Yeah, I think Dominic Monaghan is good. And
Yeah.
the two actors, they play off each other well.
I like their vibes, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a scene where Shannon comes over to Saeed. And basically, she tells him...
I forgot that scene existed. I thought the episode ended with the Rose Charlie scene because that's where it should have fucking ended.
Oh, okay. So you fucking hate this one.
It's just
Because
dumb.
basically, okay, Shannon is like, hey, when I was in France, there was this little kid who was with the guy I was dating or something, and he watched some animated movie over and over, and there was a song in it, and the song is the French version of that standard, the like somewhere over the sea, my love waits for me or whatever.
Yeah.
What is the name of that song?
I don't know.
Anyway, she sings that in French because
Perfectly.
Yeah, I thought that too. She's like, wait, I thought she wasn't very good at French, and now she's like singing perfectly in a foreign language.
That's why I thought it was so dumb. It's because she
Yes.
perfectly remembered the song and the lyrics and how to sing in French. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we basically learned that Rousseau just was writing the lyrics to that song over and over on her notes. I guess.
I mean, yeah, was that the song from the music box? I don't know if it was, but I kind of assumed that it was.
It was not.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that it was.
I don't know. Did we hear what?
I to be honest, I don't even remember if we heard it, but when I assumed that that's why they had Shannon actually singing it, because again, I don't remember if we heard the music box, but I assumed that we did hear the music box and that we now needed to hear Shannon sing it so we could be like, oh, it's the same. That's what was going on with Rousseau.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what I assume.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's very silly that she can sing in French perfectly. It's either very silly or it betrays that actually she's pretty good at French.
Yeah.
But it does feel a little silly. I guess...
It resolves Saeed's frustration with her.
Yeah. And I don't know. Fuck. Do I feel anything about it?
Yeah, I feel pretty... all it does for me is that it makes Saeed realize, like, oh, okay, yeah, Rousseau, has got some stuff rattling around in her brain, and Shannon was helpful and wasn't useless.
Yeah. I like that they have a little reconciliation after being frustrated with each other.
Yeah, that's what it does for me.
Yeah. And then the episode ends with Kate looking at the little model plane. And we're sad, I guess.
We're not sad.
And that's Lost.
Yep.
The season 1, episode 12.
Yep, that was Lost. That was it.
Fuck. Going back through this one, it is so much... It's so much nothing.
It's a bad episode of television in that it's not entertaining.
Yeah, I wish it were worse.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
It's extremely C-, kind of episode for me.
Yeah. Just
where it's
the worst part for me was all the stuff around the briefcase with Sawyer and Kate, I said it before, but we had so much time with them doing the exact same thing on repeat.
Yeah, she keeps trying to steal it like it's
failing.
A picnic basket or whatever.
Yeah, and then he keeps it and is like, gee, you really want this, don't... Like, it felt so fillery. It really, 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 really did. And that sucks for an episode that comes right on the heels of an interesting revelation.
For sure. I hope that the next episode is more about that than whatever the fuck this was about.
I hope it is too, but I definitely hope it is. And I'm still excited to see more of Locke and see that sort of stuff. But there is, for me at least, and my viewing experience, irreparable harm done by putting this episode in the middle.
It fucks the momentum up a lot.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah. I liked the scenes with just random people having scenes together, like Saeed and Shannon. I liked those. I liked the Charlie Rose scenes. I liked those. I liked the Jack Sawyer scene. So I liked all those.
The thing is, none of at best I was like, yeah, that was nice. There weren't any scenes where I was like, this was great.
I think I liked them more than you then.
Yeah,
See, I thought the Jack Sawyer was pretty great. I thought some of the Charlie Rose bits were pretty great. The Sawyer or Saeed Shannon bits I just thought were good, but I thought there were some that I was really, really into. But I think I was less into Kate still than you.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I think like this episode does more work of making her like actually seem untrustworthy, which is nice. I think that's like kind of what they've been saying that they want to do with her character, but they haven't actually like done the legwork to make that happen. And I think like this episode they start to actually, or this works more than previous attempts at like actually making that the case.
You're totally right about that. I wish that like at this point she is untrustworthy, right? Like let's just say they've been saying it out loud that she is, even if she hasn't shown it, and now she's starting to show it, so like she is untrustworthy. I still struggle with the fact that, and maybe this is just because I've had too much time to grow to dislike the character, but I struggle with the fact that I don't care that she's untrustworthy. Like,
yeah, it's like there's still...
Because it's not a person that I'm invested in. Yeah.
Right.
Like, if we suddenly see that Charlie is untrustworthy and doing sketchy shit, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's just that they haven't, like, made her...
But I don't care about her, so I'm like, she's not trustworthy.
Yeah,
cool.
Her personality is just so flat. Like, she really just doesn't stand out. And it feels like the other characters, like, it feels like they have been giving them. Like, they have personalities. No, so when you put them together, like, oh, okay, this is interesting how these two bounce off each other. But she doesn't really bounce off anyone. She's kind of just like a pillow, like whatever other characters throw at her, she just kind of like absorbs.
She's like that paint, the pure black, that paint, that super special paint that absorbs all light, and it just looks like when you take a picture of it, like you cut a hole in the picture.
Totally.
That's what Kate is. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. She's still not like interesting. Like I'm still not like having a good time in scenes that she's in. Like you said something a while ago, which like it feels so true, which is just like if there's two people in a scene and it's like Kate and another person, there's one person in that scene.
Yeah.
And it does feel like that,
Like all the scenes with her and Jack. I loved Jack in those scenes. He could have been talking to a wall though.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I hope that I hope the next episode is just about a interesting thing, honestly.
No, this is great. You pivoted from I hope she becomes more interesting to I hope she's not in the next episode. Which I think is the right hope to have, because like I feel like we've had enough time with her now that I don't have any hope that suddenly she will be written and portrayed better. Like that, why would I hope that?
Yeah, kind of true. I am glad this episode. I like the Shannon Saeed stuff. I like Shannon having like another character who she interacts with.
Yeah,
and like
I agree.
Kind of pulls out other aspects of her personality,
Yeah, totally. I'm glad about this episode that it is now behind us and not lurking in the future to ambush me with its terribleness.
So, do you want to know who the next episode is about?
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid because of your voice, but yeah.
The next episode is a Boone episode.
I thought it might be, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
All right. Yeah, because we got to go back to Boone and Locke. I mean, I hope we're going back to Boone and Locke. We already had a Locke.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that prospect?
Oh, slightly less than neutral. Like, slightly worse than neutral. Not terrible, because not terrible, but Boone, in a different way than Kate, sucks. Like, he's, I think, well characterized enough. It's just that characterization is, this dude is actually the worst. Like, incompetent, stupid, actively harmful, inconsiderate, unempathetic.
Complains about stuff and is annoying.
Yeah, like, that he's actually just legitimately a terrible person. But that is a character, and, like, I don't know. I'm open to seeing where that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Yeah.
For sure. Well, is there anything else you want to cover here?
I don't think so. I think that's just about it.
Lost. We're doing it. You know what? Next episode, we will be halfway through season 1.
Was that supposed to be, like, encouraging?
I don't know what it was supposed to be.
It did not feel encouraging. It felt depressing.
We're doing it.
I think
we're in it.
You said it before, but I think it's true. I think you're right that's why there's so much that feels so fillery. It's just like, oh yeah, in 2004 they just made 87 episodes a fucking season.
So
they had to throw in some bullshit.
So many fucking episodes. Yeah. Fucking for real. Okay, well, this was the Long Lost Podcast. You can find us on Patreon at The Long Lost Pod and on Gmail, thelonglostpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me wherever at Dorkpunk with Q's instead of K's.
Twitter? Are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter.
Can't find you there.
I mean, you can, but it's an old account and whatever. You can find me on Instagram.
You on Threads?
No. Fuck no.
You on Mastodon?
I'm on somebody's Mastodon server somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, basically just Instagram. What about you, Lana?
You can find me walking the streets.
Nice.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, it does sound a little weird.
Yeah, you can find me.
Perfect.
If you try hard enough.
That's a troubling thing to request.
All right. Next week, we'll have another episode where we talk about it, I guess.
Hell yeah.